Collective Unconscious Performance is an artistic partnership between me, David Hanzal, and Katharine Sherman. This summer in Minneapolis, we are producing our first work entitled Victor and Valentine.
My collaboration with David has been growing and changing and shifting for the past 3 years that we've been working together, first in graduate school at the University of Iowa, and then now. We are very, very into using viewpoints in composition, into devising, into creating moments in the rehearsal room with the actors. It's a really multidisciplinary, really multifaceted, sort of fluid way of working where we are all kind of writers and we are all kind of movers and creators, even in our specific roles for each performance piece.
Kat and I met in graduate school, and we had this sort of immediate bond over fairy tales and autobiographical performance art and 90s and glitter and blood. And it was like, finally, someone is speaking the same language as me.
Victor and Valentine is a new performance work very loosely based on the life of Hans Christian Andersen. It's a piece about an artist whose cycle of inspiration comes from heartbreak, comes from unrequited love, comes from falling for unattainable people, loving them with all of his heart, getting his heart broken, smashed to bits, and then he picks those pieces up and turns them into a beautiful story, a beautiful show, a beautiful narrative.
Around the time that I was finishing my MFA, I had read this really dishy biography about Hans Christian Andersen, who had been my favorite author ever since I was 9 years old, and I was finding so many personal connections to his own story and his work. I had been in Minneapolis for about a year, and I realized that it was time for me to produce my own work. And I had sat down and I thought to myself, well, what do I really want to do? And it's to produce this piece that was inspired by this author and this new character that I discovered that came out of that, called Victor von Valentine and his Cabaret for the brokenhearted.
Once upon a time there was a strange, sad little boy who didn't speak but often fell in love. And when he fell in love, his heart would break. And when his heart was broken, he could speak. And when he spoke, his voice was like a bell. Well, his name was My Name is Victor von Valentine. Please let me tell you a tale.
I think that for emerging artists creating visually based theater in any urban environment, it's always a challenge to scrounge for funds for your very first production in a new city. And so right now I've eaten a lot of ramen in order to self-fund most of the core puppets as well as many of the costumes for the production.
The funding that we are requesting is for paying our actors and design team. It is for renting rehearsal space, and it is for renting our production venue.
To publicize and get our names out there, because Facebook will only take you so far. This piece is so important to Kat and myself because it integrates all of our different passions about the theater. As Collective Unconscious Performance, we're all about experimenting with genre and combining multiple performance styles, and this piece will integrate Kat's poetic text alongside my puppets and original score, movement, stage magic, visual imagery, and we are excited to have it as our introduction to the Minneapolis and St. Paul theater scene.